Here we go. Here we go, brownies. The kids cardiac, catch me in the muni where the party at. Dog pound, turn up with the elf up on my starter cap. Brought him back, boy we from the land and we proud of that. Louder man, front to the back, here we go, I got him shouting that. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Game on the line, Joe Thomas, I promise. Jim Brown running through opponents, how I got this. I return like Josh Cripps, hand for the mini, got the dog pound jumping. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Let's go,
Cleveland! This is for you!
Mr. Heroes turning 60. We're proud to have served your favorite cravings for 60 years in celebrating what we do best. Thanks, Ohio.
I crave a hero.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Allie Ellery, coming at you live from Pensacola, Florida. Joined with me, as always, we've got Dustin. First and foremost, I know today's been a tough day for a lot of people. A lot of just horrible acts of violence out in the world past couple of days. Really, really terrible. Our thoughts and prayers to all, because that really that's a lot to deal with. So we hope that you can join us for the next hour, kind of get mind off things, and we'll talk football, we'll talk Cleveland Browns, and we're going to welcome on Clay Matthews here in just a few moments to talk to him. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Dustin, we've got some things to talk about as it pertains to your Cleveland Browns. We've got an update on Quinshon. We'll talk to David later on in the program about the injury report. And, of course, Clay Matthews. We're going to talk to him and then look ahead to the upcoming game against the Baltimore Ravens. Dustin, how's it going?
Good. Yeah. Again, somber day with a lot of things in the world. I mean, the world is a crazy place, and sometimes I think we are that escape from people to enjoy the better things in life. But the Browns didn't win on Sunday, so we got to talk about the loss. We got to talk about a big opponent this upcoming Sunday, the Baltimore Ravens. And like you said, some updates on Judkins, met with the NFL. So, a lot to talk about today.
So let's start with that. Let's start with the Quinshon situation. So Quinshon, he will practice with the team. We'll talk about his meeting in New York here in a moment. But the logistics behind it, the Browns did receive a 2-game roster exemption for Quinshon Judkins. So what that means essentially is that he can practice with the team, but he cannot play in a game until that exemption is lifted, or they will have to, allocate a roster spot. So meaning cut somebody. So right. The question, who will that be? They're given a 2-game roster exemption where they can essentially get by with him practicing with the team, getting acclimated, but basically, holding that roster spot. So if he does play this week in Baltimore, not expected, but if he does, the exemption will be over. The Browns will need to immediately cut someone to make room for Quinshon. Dustin, that's a really interesting situation on who that's going to be, right? Because you look at guys specifically in the running back room. I mean, we know about Jerome Ford. We talked about that. Love what you have added Dylan Sampson, but we saw some real promise with, I love this nickname, Rocket Sanders. I think that's so cool. Really difficult to kind of wrap your head around potentially cutting him. So we don't, not to speculate on who that person will be.
Yeah, it might not even be a running back, right? We don't know, right? So, because
correct.
Yeah, it's weird, though, right? Yeah, it's weird because it's a 53-man roster. You get this 2-week window to basically see if he's game ready or whatever, and then you gotta let somebody go if he's going to make a roster spot, which is weird. But I'm assuming they did that with Mike Hall, right? I'm assuming last year they did that with Mike Hall. Did they have to release somebody?
It's a little bit different because the ruling came out prior to the season. We knew that there was going to be a suspension, so he was on the commissioner's exempt list.
Good point. Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, so
it's a very weird situation.
I think it's odd that the Browns find weird, odd ways to find rules within the rules of the National Football League. Like, I feel like every year on the show, we're like, well, what is this 2-game blah, blah, blah? Like, I didn't even know that existed. And then we're like, oh, well, clearly it exists because the Browns are using it. So not that I don't think Andrew Berry should use all the tools in his toolkit, because he does. We know he does. He does that with a lot of things with the draft and the salary cap. So if there was this, I mean, I'm sure, he's a very smart man. And he probably said, well, actually, hang on one moment. According to the rules, we can do this. And then the NFL said, well, yeah, technically you probably can. And so you're right. It'll be interesting to see after the game on Sunday who that person is, next week. This time next week, we'll definitely know more than likely what Judkin's situation will be with the National Football League, and we'll probably more than likely know where he'll be in that space. Hopefully a decision is made between now and Monday with the National Football League so the Browns can kind of have a path forward where they're going with the running back room.
Look, I started the show several years ago to talk about football, kind of the X's and O's on the field. That's kind of really what I love to talk about.
That's what you are passionate about.
That's what I wish I could do more of. However, this Browns team, during the entire time I've done this show, has always given reason to really just dive into the rules and a deep understanding of things that I didn't even know existed. So here we go with this one. But nonetheless, this one's pretty straightforward. It's a 2-game roster exemption.
Right.
And as our friend put here, doesn't really expect Quinshon to play until Green Bay. That's to be expected. And look, guys, he needs time to be with the team. He was not with them at all until recently. So we know that he was in New York today, meeting with the NFL. Kevin did not disclose that in his press availability. He was asked about it. But we know that that's what that was. So excited to see him in a Browns uniform, hopefully in the next few weeks.
And what's interesting about that, Allie, real quick before we have Browns legend Clay Matthews on, is I know the Browns and typically teams try to steer away from what the NFL is doing on a separate kind of silo over here. And maybe that's where Kevin Stefanski in the front office said, we're not going to address that. We're not going to address that at all until the league addresses it. And then when the league obviously did their presser and made it available that he was there, let them deal with it. So I think that was probably the appropriate thing to do. That's just me, but but I think it was a good thing to do in light of the situation, because it's been weird and messy ever since this all started, as you know, Allie. It's been a very messy, weird thing because and the Browns, have been pretty quiet on it multiple times when it's brought up, because at times I don't think they know what the final end result is going to be till the NFL comes down with their
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Nonetheless, like I said, excited to see him in a Browns uniform. I think he'll only make this team better. So with that, we are going to bring on Browns legend Clay Matthews. This interview is brought to you by our friends over at Lorello Vineyards.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Hello, welcome to Lorello Vineyards, Larry and Kim Lorello. We have a beautiful Here We Go Brownies wine that we would like to offer to you this season as we did last season. We have several other award-winning wines, lovely entertainment and events coming this summer. So come and see us, wine a bit, you'll feel better.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Muni lot this fall. Go Browns.
All right, let's bring him on. We are joined with Clay Matthews. Hi, Clay. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you? I didn't know
complain.
about the wine. I don't know if I would have been a better player if I would have had access to that wine there.
Well, it's a red blend Montepulciano. If you're a wine connoisseur, it's a red blend. So if you love reds, it's a great wine. Actually, it's made with California grapes, Clay.
Oh,
interesting.
wow.
Yeah. So it's actually made with I think Temecula. It's out in Temecula is where
Sure.
yeah. So you're familiar with that area. So that's where the grapes come from. So yeah, as I say, Clay, first and foremost, the last time we had you on, first and foremost, thank you for making an appearance with us. It was after, if you remember, the Kansas City loss in the game when we had you on after the playoff loss. And I was telling Allie, I was like, we got to have Clay on after a win one of these times, not a loss. So
I don't remember any losses. There were too many of my own to remember.
Yeah, but in retrospect though, during your seasons you had more wins than losses most of the time. So there is that. So
And actually, I just want to get started with that. Clay, you were part of some really good teams with a great winning culture, and I just want to talk about that. Dustin and I, with this current team, we have said on this podcast so many times that we are just excited for some of these younger players to step up, be leaders in the room. They've been developed within the organization for the few years. And the front office has been vocal about guys like Myles Garrett stepping up and being a leader. How do you see leadership of this fairly young team, evolving? You're part of some great winning teams. Can you kind of define how your culture was?
A lot of it, certainly, as you mentioned, is confidence. And confidence, it comes in strange ways. You win a game you shouldn't have. You look at the Steelers; they didn't look very good, and they end up winning the game. The Buffalo Bills, they looked terrible, and they end up winning a game. And now they'll go into the next game and they'll believe they can win. And there's been so much negative press, deservedly so, with the Browns. They just, if they just could have got over the hump that first game, and which I think they'll do, because I was very impressed. I didn't know what to expect watching the game, but I was very impressed with a lot of things. So, they just need to win a couple. I don't care how you win them, and all of a sudden you get on a roll. And that's how we did it back in the day. If you go back and look position by position, it perhaps, you couldn't predict that would happen.
Yeah. Clay, I was at the game, and this will lead me to my next question. He played against your rival, UCLA, but Carson Schlesinger, what a great linebacker that the Browns picked up and has been playing lights out in training camp. And then Sunday, that game wasn't too big for him. So dive into him and what you think of him kind of being the new Clay on the team.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of commonness with him. He went to the same high school that my youngest son, Casey Matthews, went to, who ended up playing at Oregon and then played with the Eagles.
Right.
And I didn't really know him that well when he was then, because at that I quit coaching, to see my older son play with the Packers and to see Casey play. And, he ended up at UCLA, which as a USC Trojan, we don't watch them that much, but he had a very similar background to my son, Clay, who was at USC for 5 years. And it took him to the 5th game of his 5th year before they finally started him. And he ended up playing so well that he was the 23rd pick in the draft with the Packers, ended up having a great career and won a Super Bowl, something no Matthews had ever done before. We had a lot, between my brother and myself, we had many at-bats, but never. He got there and couldn't get it done, and we were knocking on the door 4 or 5 times and couldn't get it done. But I watched, what's his first name? All I know guys by their last name.
Carson.
I'm sorry?
Carson.
Oh, I got a lag here.
Yeah, Justin's got a little delay. I don't know. Can you hear me okay, Clay?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, his name's Carson.
Oh, Carson, of course. Gosh. See, he's a Bruin. I can't give him too much respect. But I watched him. I was very impressed. Knows what he's doing and plays hard. And he's very efficient. He probably, some guys, when they play a certain way, they open themselves up to injury and so forth. He looks like he could do what he's doing for a long time and be a very good player. Yeah.
And what I find to be so impressive with him is, of course, the retirement of Jordan Hicks from this team. He was the green dot guy. And then Carson, this rookie, he stepped up into this role kind of later in camp to be the defensive play caller. I just think that's so impressive as a rookie to be kind of thrust into like we were talking about, a leadership position and to do it effectively and efficiently. I mean, can you just maybe talk a little bit about what that learning curve may have been like for Carson? Because that's
It,
been taking out right away.
well, I remember when I came in, they go, okay, I was an inside linebacker like he was. And they go, we're moving you to outside. So my learning curve took a drop and then came back. But he looked really good and very efficient. That's when you play inside, you got to be efficient. You got to see it and do it fast. And you can, it's a position he could. Nowadays, you don't play as long, but he could be there 10 years. So I would hope that, for him.
It's really great. Dustin, you're
And
back.
and the leadership is important. And I think, it's not where you go around yelling at people, but you lead by example. And a guy could come in and a coach could point out, look, as Bill Belichick used to say, who was once revered by Browns fans, but just do your doggone job. And if you do that, you could be fine. You get 11 guys doing their job and you're good.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, so we talk about the game, and I was at it, Clay. And you watch the game from and we always talk about when we have Eric Metcalf and some of your teammates have been on the show. Most of all of them have been on. They look at it through a different lens. Speak to this defense. The defense of 2023 that led the Browns to get to that 11-6 record in the playoffs. I see a lot of those similarities on this defense, even though Martin Emerson, went out unfortunately with the season injury at training camp. What do you see in this defense based on the game you watched and some of this stuff that's coming out? I think they have a chance to be pretty special, and just wondering what your opinion on this defense as a whole is, because as you said, is not just one player, a linebacker, it's the defensive line. It's everybody has to work together.
It's been tough for me because obviously when I played, I knew everybody in the league, so I could tell you about anybody. All right. Then I left, and you've only got 3 or 4 years when you know everybody, and then they term out. Then my sons came in and I relearned everybody, and that was good. Then they left and I had another 3 or 4 years. Okay. Now it's like I need to reload, and I don't want to sound like I don't watch the Browns that much, because I do, but I just was really impressed by the whole team. I can't really pick them out on everybody, who they are and everything. And then last year, when things didn't go quite as well, I might have been drawn to another game. I would hate to admit that, but
you're not alone.
But,
You're not alone.
I watched them, and there had been, especially out here, because with the quarterback situation, everybody's making a big deal out of it and everything, and it looked like they knew exactly what they were doing, and he was fantastic, the starting quarterback. And I watched the game, but there had been so much negative talk from last year and then going into the season with the quarterbacks and everything, and then I was so impressed, and I just thought, gosh, we're so close to being, and we just need to get over the hump, just like in the 80s and 70s and 90s.
Clay, that you bring up a really interesting point, because, you had Brian Sipe, and then you had Bernie Kosar, and then for a little bit you had not Clay Matthews, but you had Baker Mayfield. And the Browns have really, other than those 3 quarterbacks, have not had a stability at quarterback. And to your point, it's so hard to get it right in the NFL, but the Browns just, other than in the last, 35 years, have only had 3 quarterbacks that we can look back and say that was the guy. So, speak to that a little bit, because I know we've had Bernie on, and he speaks very highly of you, and all the other guys do. But, what is it with the quarterback? Because it's such a hard, the team, that's the heartbeat of the team, right? Is the quarterback, and it starts there. And especially in today's league where it's pass happy, it's not. Now the running back's coming back. There's a little bit of a renaissance with the running back the last couple of years. But talk to us. What do you think the challenge has been for the Browns finding that quarterback? And then, we got 2 rookies sitting there waiting to get their shot. One from Oregon, and obviously Shador from Colorado. But talk talk a little about the quarterbacks. I'm just curious what your thoughts are, because that's a tough thing for the Browns to find. It seems like it's a unicorn.
Actually, for me to talk about the quarterbacks, I would prefer to talk about hitting them. Yeah.
Well, but, you can't hit him anymore. You can't hit him anymore. No.
That is true. Gosh, I watched that, and there was when they called a foul, I go, that isn't a foul. And then Leslie, my wife, goes, it is. You missed that rule change about 4 or 5 years ago. So, but, I've always felt they've been close, and there's a magic about playing in Cleveland. The community is so involved with the team. Wherever you go as a player, you'll run into a fan, okay? And usually they're pretty in touch with what's going on. And I remember when I got there, I was so amazed at people, hey, Clay, what about this and what about that? And, we'd have a nice little chat. And I go, gosh, they know more about the team than I do, because I would, get blinders and what was important to me doing it and important to the defense. And a lot of times the offense, you had to just let it go. But when things start to go good and you have folks in the community, it's magic. And, you play better on the field and you feel the energy. Unfortunately, when things don't go as well, you feel a negativeness sometimes, and it can be tougher. My last 3 years, I went down to Atlanta. Well, Atlanta, I only think 1 out of 10 people is born in Atlanta. They all came from either up north or somewhere else. So you didn't have that connection with the community, which to a degree you didn't. If things didn't go well, it wasn't quite as bad. If things went well, wherever you are, if things go well, it's okay. If you're in a community that really cares, which is really special and what you want, then you got to have some wins and some movement that's good for them.
I mean, it is very transparent that, the winning culture, or just the culture of the team, kind of radiates to the community. You can see it. You can see it with the fans. You can hear it when, fans are talking about this team or talking about this team. And, you mentioned Bill Belichick a little bit ago. And that was actually one of the questions I wrote down to ask you, because he's obviously very relevant right now. He's coaching at UNC and very public. And a lot of people are kind of a little critical of maybe his coaching style over the past few years. And I want to ask you, what was it like to play for Bill Belichick? Can you speak to his coaching style? What was it day in and day out with Bill?
Well, his coaching style was good. He was the head coach, but the coordinator was Nick Saban, and Nick Saban is fantastic. No matter what you think of him, he's amazing. I remember I was sitting there and he came over, and normally I don't talk to coaches, because they're the guys that tell you when you do something wrong. And, somebody like me, we never do anything wrong when we play. At least that was my perception. But
you're the green dog.
Nick came, I was sitting and I started talking. I got to talk to him, see what he's like. And he started talking to me, and he's telling me about his childhood and how he had to go to work and this and that. And then I'm sitting, how did I get into this conversation? I need to get out. And it finally, refreshingly, they go, okay, defense on the field. Got to go, coach. But he was amazing as a coordinator when when he and Bill were there. And Bill wasn't the warmest guy, but he very efficient and would dot the I's and cross the T's. And, it just didn't work out in Cleveland. And apparently did okay once he moved on. I don't know where he went.
Both of them. Both of them in Cleveland. Two of the best out there.
Clay, to think that, you have a guy that would go on to win 6 and 7 national championships in college football and another one to win 6 or 7 in whatever it is. And the NFL, Super Bowls, and we all know those are hard to come by no matter what team you play for. But to say that those guys, between the two of them, have 13 championships, after they leave Cleveland, that's crazy. I mean, like, you would go, what? Like, but to think about that coaching staff before they left, and moved to Baltimore, that was a phenomenal coaching staff that was in place. That, I mean, who knows, right? We don't know where the Browns would have gone if they would have stayed.
We played real good defense then, and it was, when they say know your job, you knew your job, which I had always known my job. Yeah, I'd like to think that. Yeah. And when Nick was there, we played good defense, and offensively, we were going through a situation where the quarterback situation was a little up and down, and Bernie got let go, so that probably could have been handled a lot different. But we played good defense. It was a tough time offensively.
As I say, okay, go ahead.
Sorry, Dustin. I was just going to say, Clay, you talk about, wanting to, when we're talking about quarterbacks, wanting to hit quarterbacks. During your time as a player, who was your favorite to get after? Your favorite quarterback?
Even when I was playing, quarterbacks were starting to get protected. So if a quarterback tried to act like a tough guy, you didn't respect him, because basically he was getting protected by the referees. And if a quarterback, though, I remember once and gosh, I can't remember who it was, but I can remember exactly what he said. I came in, got around a guy, worked really hard, and hit him hard. I go, how was that? And he goes, it hurts. Don't do it anymore. Now, when somebody's like that, you kind of like them, because you go, he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. But There were some guys that they tried to act like tough guys at quarterback, and they were protected all the time. And yeah.
Well, Clay, I know people are excited. You're coming to Cleveland this Saturday. You're going to be at the Great Northern Mall. Our friends over at Primetime Sports, obviously, are a sponsor of our show. Excited. You'll be there from 1 to 2. I know a lot of fans are excited. Some of them are making comments that they're excited to come see you. I'll be there to come see you, so I'm looking forward to see you in person out there. What do you want to say to the fans that are going to come out and see you on Saturday from 1 to 2?
Oh, I'm still a big Browns fan, and I still hurt when they don't win and they don't do well. I try to apply reason to it, but you can't do that. It's in your heart. And, I do feel I was so lucky to have played there, where people really care. And like I said, I enjoyed the conversations with folks I had. I'd be someplace, maybe, getting fast food, and somebody would be in line and they'd talk to you. And I was always amazed how well they knew the game. And it was a magical time.
Yeah, I will say, Clay, this is a sports town. I think I don't know if I told you, I used to live in Boise, Idaho, so I'm a West Coast guy that chose to make the leap and move to Cleveland. But this town lives and breathes football and basketball and the Guardians too. I mean, this is truly a sports town. And you're right. They educate themselves. They know all the players. They know the guys that get released. They know the guys that get back at it, to the practice squad of all things. I mean, they are so in tune with this team. You almost think they could almost be a coach half the time, because they're like, nope, if I was the coach, I'd do that, right? But they are the most, and I've seen a lot of fan bases, but Nally knows this, and this is clearly why Allie got into podcasting, because she's one of those fans that loves talking X's and O's, and we were talking about this before you came on, and it's in our blood. It's who we are as players and fans. So.
Yeah, it's always fun being able to talk to, especially a Browns legend, Clay Matthews. So we really appreciate your time, Clay. This was a lot of fun. It's always a pleasure just talking to you and learning more about the game.
No, it was my pleasure. And, who are the Browns playing this week?
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Right. Oh, gosh. Yeah. No, I watched. Actually, there were about 4 or 5 good games on, and the Browns were one I considered good. And you could even though they lost, you could say, well, if this happened or that happened, we would have been fine. And so there's still a lot of momentum. I'm still pulling for them, and I watch them mostly till the end, but looking forward to watching them.
So Clay, I don't know if you're aware of this, but this is something that is quite the topic in Cleveland the last couple of days. The Browns are going to Baltimore this weekend, and they're celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Baltimore Ravens being the Baltimore Ravens. Now, many have said that's on purpose to do it to the Cleveland Browns. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that, because they could have picked any other game to celebrate the 30th anniversary, but they picked it when the Browns are in town.
Well, everybody's gone from that era, right? I believe there's a new ownership in Baltimore, obviously new ownership in Cleveland. Yep. If somebody's thinks that's going to be a good payback, I don't see who they're trying to apply to.
Right.
Just go down there and win one, and let Baltimore try to figure out after what happened to them.
No, that would be poetic. That would be poetic for the Browns to go to Baltimore on the 30th anniversary and get a win and put the Ravens at 0-2. That would be nice.
And with the quarterback that took you to your last Super Bowl win, Joe Flacco, that would be the icing on the cake.
I hadn't even thought about that. Wow. Yeah.
Sometimes the stories just write themselves. You really do. But Clay, thanks so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. You are, of course, welcome on here anytime.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you.
All
Go
right,
Browns.
Pleasure.
Go Browns.
All right. That is Browns legend, Clay Matthews. Always so much fun every time we get to talk to Clay. But that's crazy. I guess I hadn't considered some of the storylines around that game. I knew that was going to be the 30th anniversary. I have seen some things that they chose that date prior to the schedule being released, but nonetheless, it would be great for the Browns, especially now, to get a win with Joe Flacco in Baltimore, and that would just be nice. That would be a lot of fun. But
yeah,
great talking.
I mean, can you imagine the smirk? Because he wouldn't do it in a pompous way, but can you imagine the smirk and the smile of Joe Flacco going like this? Remember, I got you your last Super Bowl win. I'm out. You said goodbye to me, and I say goodbye to you now. Because, I mean, he's not going to play probably after this year. I mean, this is his swan song. It'd be the most poetic way to go out.
Yeah, I don't know. Hard to tell what Joe's plans are, but yeah, this would be a lot of fun to get a win in Baltimore. That interview is brought to you by our friends over at Lorello Vineyards. Before we move on and look ahead to that game, just a couple of other things here. We want to tell you about our newest sponsor, Dustin. Why don't you take it away? Southern Tier Brewing.
Yeah, Southern Tier Brewing, guys. If you haven't had it, you got to go down there. And guess what? As of last Wednesday, on tap, Here We Go Brownies Brown Ale on tap. We're trying to get it in the cans, which would be even cooler, so you could pick up a 6-pack when you leave there and you get some beer. Also, they're open at 10 a.m. for all Browns games. And there it is. There's the new logo that's on tap. So ask for it when you go in. Here We Go Brownies Brown Ale. But they're open at 10 a.m. every Sunday for the Browns games. And I think they're even opening early for the Minnesota Vikings game, which, by the way, is a 9:30 kick, I think, in Cleveland, 9:30 a.m. It's pretty early kick out here. It's like kegs and eggs at that point.
Yes, there you go. Also, if you are maybe in the market to buy, sell, invest, or even rent a home, give our friend Crystal John Tony over at eXp Real Estate or Realty, a call. She's the best in the business. She can point you in the right direction. If you've got any questions, maybe you're just getting started with this process, or you're a veteran, you're a veteran home buyer. Give her a call. She can help you. Her number is here, 216-215-6663, or at johntonysales@gmail.com. So please be sure to keep her in mind. We're going to bring Dr. David Ullery on, but just a quick word. He just texted me, actually. We have an update from Mary Kay Cabot on the Quinshon situation. NFL spokesman tells Cleveland.com that there is no timeline to wrap up the review of Quinshon Judkins' domestic battery arrest, for which he was not charged. He was interviewed by the legal officials today. So that's really all we know. He was interviewed He was in New York being interviewed by the league officials, but being that there is no timetable for a potential suspension, I would still expect to see Quinshon in a Browns uniform sometime this season, hopefully very soon. And then the suspension could either come later, come next year. Don't entirely know, but there's your latest. So with that, let's bring Dr. David Ullery on. Hi, David.
Hi, Allie. Hey, Dustin.
What's
Doctor,
happening?
how are you? How is
I
Dr. Dave?
I'm great. I'm wonderful. I'm excited to be on the show here talking football. A week in, even if it wasn't the outcome we hoped for, and just always enjoy hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
So David, I wanted to share something with you. My next door neighbors are literally in the building I live in. Both are residents. They watch the show. They're both doctors, and one's a resident orthopedic surgeon. I thought that was pretty cool. So we started talking a little bit about orthopedic surgery and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, yes, absolutely. If he's in that field, those are exactly like injuries on the field. So we were talking at the Muni lot, Allie. We were talking. I invited them down to the Muni lot. By the way, it was their first Muni lot. That was a lot for them to take in. But they enjoyed it. As Allie knows, that is something to take in. But
It is.
But yeah, so it was fun just to talk orthopedic surgeons. I just wanted to share that with you. It was kind of fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Always fun to meet other surgeons.
Well,
Yes.
Of the exact practice too, of course. Yeah, even better.
So with that, let's talk doctor stuff. What do you got for us, David?
So not really any surprises, fortunately. We know during the game, probably the most relevant or specific is Jack Conklin with his eye injury, but he did practice today, limited participant, but it sounds like over the last 2 days he's improved significantly. So I'm not too worried about him suiting up on Sunday. I imagine he probably just got either poked in the eye or almost like a black eye, or there's some swelling, just kind of making maybe a little bit difficult to open the eye all the way up, but it sounds like it's resolving and we shouldn't have any issues there. Other people listed on the report, another lineman in Joel Batonio and one more lineman, DeJuan Jones. Joel's was not injury related, just rest, so no issues there. DeJuan's was his knee. I think we're going to see him probably on it most of the season. That doesn't mean that there's anything to really worry about right now because he was a participant, just limited. A good update is that Michael Jr. is practicing. He was a limited participant, but he is dressed and practicing. And so hopefully that means we get a green light to see him make his debut on the field this Sunday. And then Denzel Ward, another guy that is always on this list, but was a limited participant, still practicing shoulder and Achilles. So hopefully nothing significant there either, and should be able to suit up. Quinshon's listed, but again, we know he wasn't there and we know why. So all in all, right now, we like what we see on this, and hopefully it kind of stays this way. Kind of switching over to the Baltimore Ravens here. Jair Alexander was listed as a limited participant with a knee injury. Expect to see him on Sunday, and then we know he didn't play this past Sunday, Isaiah Likely, and he did not practice today due to a foot injury. So it remains to be seen if he's going to be available for them on Sunday or not.
Here's a question for you. What's wrong with the kicker's leg?
Great question. I don't know. I think it's probably all up here.
I knew Allie could not hold back on that. I was just
Yeah,
waiting for that.
that was a good one.
Well,
Jason, every now and then, he's got some zingers, man. He kills me. What do you got?
Speaking of kickers, someone that we've tossed around the idea of, in our house at least, was, why not bringing out Jake Moody? Just try him out. I know he was released, but there's some speculation that there was a very specific moment last season where he suffered or sustained a high ankle sprain, missed 4 games because of it. And so everyone's kind of like, his percentage went from like 90 down to 60 after that injury. So he's not without injury either. Just kind of looking out on the front for what could be in store for the future. So who knows?
I was disappointed to see that Eddie Pinheiro was signed. I've always liked Eddie Pinheiro. I was hoping that the Browns could maybe give him a call. I was just disappointed in general that the Browns didn't do anything. They didn't bring anybody in for a workout. Looks like we're sticking with Schmidt for the time being. And it's not to say that he can't turn it around. I mean, something to remember was this is his first NFL game. I mean, not an excuse. You're a professional kicker. Do your job. But, just something to keep in mind. Maybe he can turn this around. They may have a lot of faith in him. But just something to keep an eye on is free agent kickers that are out there. We saw what happened in Buffalo with that game. They brought in Matt Prater. He was with the team for less than 100 hours and was the hero. He won the damn game. I'd like to kind of go around the league right now and just kind of give our initial thoughts week one, because there were some crazy things that happened, a couple of crazy games. David, we'll start with you. Just your week one takeaways. Anything jumping out at you around the league?
There was definitely some pretty exciting things that went on. I mean, we've already kind of touched, or you guys touched on the Browns game, so I'm not going to necessarily go into detail on that. I think one surprise that we definitely were not expecting was the Colts kind of just, destroying the Dolphins. We don't think the Dolphins are good this year. I mean, let's just be honest about it. But I don't think there was the anticipation that the Colts were going to put up 33 points and Daniel Jones would lead the team to a score on every single drive. Pretty remarkable and crazy that he was able to pull that off and look like a very good quarterback in doing so. We'll see how that goes throughout the rest of the season. I think otherwise, obviously, that Bills game was crazy. And then the big surprise, I think, too, was Monday night with JJ McCarthy leading that comeback.
That was nuts.
He did not look good in the first half. We thought the Bears were kind of taking control, and to see him turn it around and never really falter is, I guess, speaks towards his resilience. I mean, we know since playing organized football in high school, he's lost a total of 4 games in his career. So he's a winner, unfortunately. And he proved it again. So that was a bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah. Couple of things for me. I mean, similarly, I truly believe that the Dolphins are going to hold a top 5 pick in the next draft. I think that they are definitely on the decline. Couple of other things, Bills and Ravens, both teams just terrify me to my core. My God, Derrick Henry is still an absolute freight train. He's an army tank, unbelievable. That's what Troy Heisong said. He said he's an absolute tank. And then also the Lions off to a slow start. That was one of my predictions that they would, but they were really a slow start. Dustin, what do you think? Your takeaways from week one?
Yeah, a couple things. I was just going to real quick on Smith. He actually played in the preseason game against the Rams and made that kick to win the game. So I was going to say, as far as, and we know this, he could come out and nail it against the Bills. So now 2 weeks in a row, got to go. That's, at that point, you got to go, right? Like if you're not, if it's a mental thing and you can't fix it, to your point, bring in 2 kickers, have a tryout. For me, the Eagles coming out a little flat in that Thursday night game. And they tried every way to let the Cowboys win that game. If you're a wide receiver for the Cowboys and you can catch the ball, that would be great because you probably would have won that football game. But that was a weird game. Again, Colts surprised me. I have that down here. Kind of, not that I don't think the Dolphins are good, but the way the Colts and Danny Dimes went about their business, was.
I guess that. Was nuts.
And then Steelers. I hate that they win, but is Justin Fields kind of the real deal? He sure looked like he's going to be a very competent quarterback in the NFL. Again, we always talk about a quarterback going to a different place, and it's just the wrong fit at the right time.
New quarterback theory. I'm a big fan of it.
And, obviously, my boy, Ashton Genty got his first touchdown in a very decisive part of that game against the Patriots. So that was good. And then Ali and I, you talked about this Lions-Packers. We both thought the Packers would win this game and the Detroit Lions, so that didn't surprise me. But I tell you, what did surprise me more was that Ravens-Bills game and the resilience of the Bills, because they were beat. They were dead. They were done. And for Josh Allen to come back, that's why they're kind of my sleeper Super Bowl team. I mentioned them in previous shows as my sleeper. The Bills are going to be a tough out. The Ravens are going to be a tough out this week. But I will say this, the Browns play, the fact that these guys went up and down the field, I think kind of benefits the Browns because they're going to, it was Monday night. They're coming off of a short week. So maybe the Browns can catch it and slip up and win in Baltimore and get to 1-1. So, but that game really surprised me how it ended and how that just was a boat race in that game.
I don't think that the Bills are a sleeper Super Bowl team. I think that probably for a lot of sports books, they may be the favorite. In fact, I think with the Ravens and the Bills, and then in the NFC, the Eagles. I mean, there's some damn tough teams in the National Football League. But one thing that Dave and I were talking about throughout the NFL, it seems, and I don't want to say an entire wide receiver problem, but there are so many drops that we saw. We watched as many games as we possibly could this weekend because football's back. But the amount of drops by receivers was actually startling.
It was very surprising, and we were like, is it first week jitters? Is it quarterbacks are throwing the ball way too hard? Like I don't know what it is and what's in the water, but it was very surprising. And I mean, I guess it kind of always seems like every year there's something that kind of surprises us from a performance standpoint, whether it's quarterbacks not living up to what we thought they would be, or receivers dropping balls, or kickers not making kicks. But yeah, so far right now the theme has been dropped passes.
Yeah, it really has. Looks like Dustin is frozen currently. Is he frozen for you, David?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So,
there he is. Real quick, guys, if you don't have stadium mustard in your kitchen this season and you're doing it wrong, the iconic brand, the iconic taste, beloved from ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between, Stadium Mustard is smooth brown mustard, rich in both taste and tradition. It's loved by millions, so be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. Let's start with the Browns. Let's do our keys to a victory. How do the Browns beat the Baltimore Ravens? We obviously know this is a big ask. This is a really, really tough Ravens team. We saw that. We knew that they were going to be explosive on offense, but they've got a really good defense too. Let's talk about how the Browns can win this game. And one thing I'd like to get better at doing is actually jotting down our keys to a victory, and then on the post-game show or maybe the following week, go back and just reference what we said and see if there was any truth to it. So just a way to maybe keep ourselves honest. But Dustin, I see you're back. You're good. I'll start with you. How did the Browns win this game against the Ravens?
I think they're going to have to get out to an early score and an early lead in this game, maybe 7 or 10 points, and then have the defense be a little more aggressive and Myles Garrett do his thing. That's what would be my keys to the victory. And for Joe Flacco, keeping him upright and the offensive line doing what it needs to do to keep him upright in this football game.
Okay. So I will put you down for score first. David, your keys here.
I mean, this is probably the key for any team that plays the Ravens, but it's containing Lamar. We know that he's going to make his plays. He's going to get his yards. He's going to scramble and move and frustrate the crap out of you. But if the Browns can find a way to at least contain him with this what we think is a stellar defense, I think that's going to go a long way to getting them. And I guess to kind of quantify that, I would say they got to keep his scramble and rushing yards under 50. I mean, under 50 rushing yards, and then trying to maintain him around 200 passing at most, I think is going to be pretty pivotal to be able to at least keep up and hopefully have the ball last to score and win, or to stop them from scoring.
Well, I'm glad that you did specify what that meant, because I was going to ask you, how do you quantify containing Lamar? Just turning back the page here, the Bengals last week played 32% of their snaps in man coverage. So that was up from what they did previously. Offensively for the Browns, if the Ravens are going to try to do what the Bengals did, I would be hopeful that our receivers can catch the ball, get into the soft spot of the zone, and be able to catch the ball. I said last week that if Jerry Jeudy can have 4 receptions, you feel good about what this offense can do. I'm going to stick to that. I think that Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku needs to get involved, but we did see some beauty from Harold Fannin Jr. I would also like to see more explosive run game. Didn't like what we saw really in week 1. Dylan Sampson certainly was a bright spot, but overall the run game, not great. Defensively, I agree with you, David. You have to contain Lamar Jackson. He cannot get any more than 50 rushing yards. We saw what he can do with his legs, and it's utterly terrifying to see what they can do collectively with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. If Derrick Henry gets north of 100 yards and Lamar Jackson has 50 or more, I don't see how you can win this game, because with the Bills and the Ravens, both of those are high-powered, explosive offenses. They have the quarterbacks to back that up. The Browns aren't in that position. we have to play smart, efficient football and being able to win the turnover battle. So as long as the defense can step up and stop Lamar Jackson, the offense has an opportunity all day. But if this gets out of hand early and Lamar can get things going, unfortunately, I don't know that offensively we'll be able to keep up. So defensively, I agree with you. I'm going to write this down too. I think that you have to contain Lamar and you have to contain Derrick Henry. The receivers don't scare me a ton. I mean, of course, Zay Flowers is really good, but that's fine. I think we'll take our matchup with Denzel and Greg. Now, in terms of a score prediction, I have no idea which way to go with this one. I really don't. I can see a world where maybe this is a fairly low scoring game. Maybe this is a defensive battle, but I could also see where there's, 500 points in this game. Dustin, what do you think in terms of a score prediction?
I'm going to go with the Browns because every post-game thing I've seen about the Browns, they're pissed off, they're mad. They know that this one got away from them, right? This was a very close game. I'm going to go, give me the Browns 21-20 in a close one.
It's low scoring.
This is going to be the year of close games for the Cleveland Browns, up and down. The ones they're going to win are going to be close, 21-20 Browns.
All right. I like it. David, what do you got here?
Yeah, man, I am not copying him by any means, but what I will tell you is that Kevin Stefanski in his Browns tenure has never started 0-2, and it's not happening this week. Give me the Browns. They're going to win 20-17. We're missing an extra point, but that's okay. 20-17.
All right, 20-17.
20-17. Yeah.
All right. So I agree with both of you. I think the Browns win this game because it's poetic and it's just what the Browns do. They're going to go into Baltimore and kind of ruin their day. Joe Flacco's going to get a win. Everybody's motivated. The story writes itself. Give me the Browns in this one. I just cannot for the life of me determine or predict if this is going to be low scoring or if this is going to be more of a high scoring battle. I'm going to go with low scoring. I think this is more of a defensive game. The Browns are for real. You get Mike Hall Jr. back this week. I mean, watch out. If your front seven can contain, watch out.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the David, I really like your score. That's what I wanted. But I'm not going to take the same thing because we can't have the same thing. I'm going to go with the Browns 21 and the Bengals 17. So then
I love it. We got 24. We got 20. What do we got? 20, 21, 20. We got 21, 17, and we got 2017. Is that right? Is that?
You got it.
Wow.
That's
well. I will tell you, the Browns. The one thing about this Browns team that I saw in the first half was like the Browns had a 7-minute drive, the Bengals had a 7-minute drive. They both kind of drove out the clock. So to Allie, to your point, I think if the defense does their job and these teams get opportunities, they're going to be long, sustained 5 yards, as long as they can contain Derrick Henry. But I think we're on to something here. The under, I mean, if you're a betting person, maybe go under this week because I just think this is, I don't know what the over-under is, but I think this could, and here's the truth. We could come back here next Wednesday or whenever you both are back on the show, and it could be 17-14. We may be even giving them too much credit here. It could be, 14-7. We don't know. But I think you're right. It's going to be a low-scoring game.
It's going to be 55-42, honest to God. Like, that's just the way it's going to
go. No, we don't have Jameis Winston playing in Denver, throwing 6 touchdowns and 3 pick sixes. That's not this game.
You're right. All right, David, thanks for joining us. We always appreciate it. Go Browns.
Go Browns. Thanks, guys.
That is Dr. David Ellery. Dustin, before we make our selections, I'm going to turn it over to you real quick, if you don't mind telling our listeners about Lady Caroline.
Yeah, guys, Lady Caroline, as you know, we were not able to go out on the voyage this last weekend, unfortunately, because of the boat had issues. It couldn't go out. So nobody could cruise on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or into early this week. So we have moved the date to October 18th. Join us. Here's the really cool thing. Because of the fortunate things can happen. So you're going to be able to try Here We Go Brownies Brown Ale on the boat for sampling. You're going to be able to try Lake Erie Distillery sampling, and Here We Go Brownies wine samples on the boat. So guess what? You're going to be able to party before the Dolphins game on Saturday. Have a nice lunch, a DJ. We're just resetting it. Now here's the challenging part, Allie. They gave me the whole boat, Allie. It's our boat. They opened up that lunch date. It is our ship. So it is our job to fill the boat. So by the way, book a trip. It's under $50. So it's actually $8 cheaper than the other boat was. And just put a jacket on and come out and enjoy us on that Sunday around the lake. It's still, by the way, it's still warm and nice here in the 70s. If it's like that in October, come out and enjoy it. But, and then, by the way, if you're down in the next couple of weeks, this is open year round, of course. That's Greater Cleveland Aquarium. Come join us down there. They have the shark tank. They have the stingrays. You can feed the stingrays in the tank there. But if you have children, grandchildren, or looking to do an activity or an event for a couple hours during this fall or when it gets winter, 2 or 3 hours there will keep the kids occupied because there's so many different cool things to do there.
There you go. And also, check out our friends over at City Barbecue, guys. Award-winning sauces, meats, sides. They do it right. They can cater your event, whether you're doing a corporate event or maybe a bridal shower or something like that. You can give them a call. They can hook you up or just pop in for lunch or dinner. It's really a great option. It's very good, and they're very friendly. So be sure to check out our friends over at City Barbecue. All right, Dustin, are you ready to make some picks?
Yeah. How'd I do? Where we at to start the season?
I gotcha. So I am up 1-0.
Was it a slaughter or was it close? Let me ask that.
So we had stand by. Let me get this pulled up. Apologies, I did not have it pulled up. We had 1, 2, 3. I beat you 4-2. 4 games to 2.
So not terrible, but it's respectable. Okay, I had a couple wins in there. Okay,
let's kick it off. We've got tomorrow Thursday Night Football. The Commanders at the Packers. Who are you taking in this one?
Ooh, this could be the toughest one to pick for the week right there. Ooh, Commanders. I think the Packers are for real. 2-0 Packers. Let's go Packers.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to take the Packers in this one. It's at home. They're legit. They got a great defense. I like the Packers in this one. Giants at Cowboys. Who you got?
I think Cowboys are pissed that they could have won that game. Give me the Cowboys in a squeaker at home.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are the better team here. Seahawks at Steelers.
Seahawks at Steelers. Ooh, this is. Oh my God, I don't want the Steelers to be 2-0.
Yeah, I hate that the Steelers might go 2-0 here, but as we know, coming from the West Coast to the East Coast, it's kind of a difficult situation, and you've got the 1 o'clock kick. I'm unfortunately going to go with the Steelers here. Now,
did the Seahawks win last weekend? No, are they 0-1? They're 0-1, right? They lost,
yeah,
correct?
Where's it at?
I think they lost.
Who did they play last week?
I think they lost to the Rams, right? Does that no?
No, they. Oh my God, why can I not find this? Yeah, they lost to the Niners.
They lost to the Niners. So you know what? Just to make this fun, I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to say they go across the Mississippi and they finally get a rare win on the road. And Mr. Aaron Rodgers had a little bit of humble pie. He got beat by one of the NFC teams.
All right, I'm going to go with the Steelers. And then next up, we've got the Rams, the Titans.
This one I'm going to give to the Titans. Again, same scenario, but opposite. They have to come all the way across from the West Coast to the East Coast, basically. Give me the Titans in this one in a close one.
All right, I'm going to take the Rams here. Give me Matt Stafford over a rookie. Bills at Jets.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if that's just a week one weirdo thing going on with the Jets. Boy, give me the Bills. Bills are still the better talented team.
Yep, I agree. Give me the Bills here. Patriots at Dolphins. Excuse me.
Now, this is where I think Vrabel takes the boys on the road. I think the Dolphins are garbage, and he proves that he wants to be a force in the AFC East. Give me the Patriots to rebound on the road with Vrabel.
I agree. Patriots, I think, are the better team here. I'm going to take the Patriots here. Jags at Bengals.
This is where the Jags come back to life and the Bengals win. I want to say it, but the Bengals are the better team.
I agree. And I think the Bengals have a better performance than what they put out against the Browns. We'll take the Bengals. Niners at Saints.
Now, I really want to root for this guy, and this will be my week 2. He lost a close game. I think they lost by 4 points, 16-20. Kellen Moore's finding his way, but I think he wins this one. He goes 1-1.
I'm going to take the 49ers in this one. Put you down here for the Saints.
So I got Seahawks, Titans, and Saints. Those are the 3 I see.
Browns at Ravens.
I'm gonna go. I think we're all in agreement here. We're Browns in the close squeaker one, so I'm gonna go Browns.
Give me the Browns. Bears at Lions.
This is where the Bears realize they're the Bears. Lions are pissed off. They win.
Yep. Lions. Broncos at Colts.
Broncos are the better team. Colts are showing some light. Boy, this would be a tough. I mean, because the Colts, give me the Broncos. Give me the Broncos.
I agree. Give me the Broncos. I think the Colts come back to earth. I think that they'll be better than we all thought they were going to be, but I'm going to take the Broncos in this matchup.
Jason brings up a good point, and I'm glad I'm taking the Saints now. Purdy and Kittle are out, so I'm glad I took the Saints.
Okay. Panthers at Cardinals.
You think the Cardinals are a sneaky playoff team, possibly? I know you mentioned that. So
We're going to be all right.
I'm going to say until they prove me wrong, give me the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's in Arizona. I think maybe if this one were in Carolina, I may consider, but it's in Arizona. Eagles at Chiefs. What a game.
Oh, that's true. The Thursday, the pillars of the hardest ones to pick. Sorry, who's at the Chiefs again? Say that again.
Eagles at the Chiefs.
Oh, give me the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs because the Eagles are, give me the Chiefs. Yeah.
And I don't think that the Chiefs are going to start out 0-2. So,
but this is a redemption. This is a redemption game for the Chiefs after losing in the Super Bowl too. So
it is. I'll take the Chiefs here as well. Falcons at Vikings, Sunday Night Football.
The Vikings look pretty damn good. Give me the Vikings.
All right, I'm going to take the Falcons here. They lost a close one. I'm going to take the Falcons. Bucks at Texans. One of the Monday matchups.
One of the Monday matchups. The doubles. Bucks at Texans. Give me Baker on the road.
Baker on the road. I love it. I agree. I think the Bucks are very good. Chargers at Raiders, the other Monday night game.
Give me the Raiders, and for Mr. Ashton Genty to have a breakout party in his new house. Give me the Raiders.
All right, I'm gonna take the Chargers in this one. I loved what Justin Herbert did last week. I like Justin Herbert. I like the way he throws the ball. I'm gonna take him in this one. I think they're a pretty good football team.
We got 5 of them here. It looks like, yeah.
All right. Well, there you have it. Excited to head into week 2 of football, and it was great talking to Clay Matthews tonight. Dustin, any quick closing thoughts as we wrap up on a beautiful Wednesday evening?
Yeah, football's back. We're on the road. I just, Stefanski has a pretty good record. Is he 4-4? I think he's 500 against the Ravens. He actually can scheme against these guys pretty decent. So I feel I think the line's way too high in this game. Obviously, the line was too much in the other game too. So I think it'll be close. I think it'll come down to a 1-possession game. So I will tell you, after being at the stadium week 1 last year against the Dallas Cowboys and week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals, I definitely saw 2 different football teams. And that made me joyful, if you're a Browns fan, that I think this team, because of our defense, is going to be in every game this year. I truly believe that, because of our defense is going to keep us hanging around. So stay hopeful.
So what I'm hearing is you take the under 45 and Browns with the points, currently plus 12 on Hard Rock. So I'll do that. I like that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy. And as always, Browns fans, go Browns.
Go Browns.